So we come to the second scenario where loudness becomes very important, and that is when you're preparing not a master, but like a pre-master. This is probably the most common file that is exported by producers rather than people who self-master. This is the file that will then be sent off to a mastering engineer. So you want to give him some headroom to do his magic with the high-end analog equipment he probably has that many people don't have in their studios. So what is my advice for here? Well, it's pretty much the same as it was when we were talking about gain stage metering for plugins within the mix. Except there's a very key difference because I'm going to use a different final metering tool to make sure that I can also check for those very fast peaks that a analog VU might not be showing you and that your ears might not pick up. That might prove problematic for a mastering engineer, even with a pre-master. And this will hopefully aid you without using any kind of limiter still on the master bus. It's just a visual aid to make sure that everything is at a nice optimum level for the mastering engineer to do his thing. So I have a track here that I have mixed, keeping to those analog VU methodology that I explained in the previous chapter. And you can see the benefits of doing this is because what I've done here, there's not that many elements in this track, and I've kind of split them into 3 buses. I've got the kick and the bass, which I like to gel together on one bus, and then I have all the other drum elements minus the kick on its own drum bus there, which I like to process separately. And then I have everything else, so all the other synths, everything except the bass sort of synth-wise. So we have 3 there, and you'll see these buses have got just a great amount of headroom, and they've got healthy levels just because I've adopted the analog VU style of mixing for each of these elements. You'll see, except for the hat, which I've just taken down a touch, I can bring that back up. It really makes no difference. I was probably just doing that to try a different level, but yeah, everything's at 0. So if I press play here, and then I go into, say, the kick and the bass bus, I've got our VU meter here, and you can see it's around 0 analog dB, which is absolutely what I want. It's calibrated again to minus 18 dB FS, and then if I go into the drum bus again, it's got a nice healthy. It's quite quiet, but it doesn't matter. That's the rest of the percussion. I don't want that too overwhelming. And finally, you got all the synths and stuff. So there you go. It's got a nice amount of headroom, and it's in proportion to the kick and the bass, which is the loudest part of this sort of club-heavy track. And so, if we go to our master, this is the example that we really need. What kind of levels here are we talking about? Let's put this up to 0. And that is how I would normally be working if I wasn't doing a voiceover, but I'm doing a voiceover, so I'm going to take that back down again. So ignore that would be at 0. But the way I'd monitor this is using this particular metering plugin from Waves. It's called Doro, and that is because it is a emulation of Doro metering, and this is a kind of hardware device that you will find in many high-end mastering suites, and you can have it in vertical, horizontal, or this kind of dual arch format, which is the one I like. You can zoom it right up, and also you can change the reference so that the kind of average levels here, which is the key to this plugin, conforms to minus 20 dBFS or 18, which is what the standard that I've been working to throughout this mix. So I'm going to keep that at minus 18 dBFS. Now you'll see here there's quite a bit going on. We've got all these segments. I think there's about 40 individual segments here, but you'll see you've got two different metering going on in the same display. Obviously left and right here. Now you've got various tools here that will show you if you're got a certain amount of consecutive peaks that go over 0 dB digital full scale. Also you've got some phase warnings and stuff like that, but we're going to keep it really simple because I'm at conservative level. This is what I would consider as ideal to send to a mastering engineer. Mastering engineers will often say, oh, send it about minus 6 dB. What they mean by that is they want about 6 dB of headroom from digital full scale, so that they can then process further, not have to keep lowering the level. They can do some limiting, clipping, all that kind of tricks that they do to get a good loudness. So what are the two different elements here, and why do I prefer to use Doro meters instead of just a straight up VU meter? Well, that's because I want to make sure there aren't any momentary super loud peaks going on here. Just play the whole track and go in, and you can make sure you set it to view any overs. But also this secondary metering here is fantastic because it goes back to the analog VU style metering. It gives you your average here. So the ideal is to aim for just below the reds here and in the reds here. So it's pretty much spot on. Using that analog VU style mixing technique throughout the whole mix, regardless of the plugins that I've used, whether they're modern style and can handle the kind of full scale digital signals, or whether they're analog emulations that are looking for more sort of conservative levels. I've applied the VU system throughout. The buses are all healthy levels, and look at the final, the master is absolutely perfect. If I whack it up to the 0, the average is a little bit louder, but it's absolutely perfect for what I want. But I'll lower that again so I can do the voiceover without shouting, but you can see that really is an optimum level. And Doro, this is a serious piece of kit in the hardware world. And Waves have done really well because computer audio, DAWs will always give precedence to the audio side of the processing in your computer, and the graphics will often take second place. And the real strength of Doro metering is the speed, how fast the metering reacts to your audio, and that can sometimes be very difficult for digital meters to do because they require the graphics to be very fast. So Waves have done some very clever stuff with optimizing the graphic side of the processing, and have managed to successfully emulate these fantastic Doro meters. So yep, highly recommended, and stick this on the master bus and aim for those levels, and you'll pretty much make every mastering engineer a happy man or woman.
Thanks everybody for watching, commenting, and indeed liking. We really do appreciate all the support we get here on our Sonic Academy YouTube channel. So if you found this video super useful, please, we'd love you to hit the subscribe button. We update the YouTube channel every week with new content, and if you want to watch some more relevant content, just click on the videos beside me.